was fortunate to have seen him perform with Weather Report twice, and then the Word of Mouth Big Band once, and then his sort of scaled down version with Mike Stern when he was out of his mind. And Mike Stern was really out of his mind at that time. And I saw that band too, and they were badass. They kicked ass with Delmar Brown and Kenwood Denard. So I was fortunate to have seen Jaco in a few different situations. The first time I saw him was at a place called the Santa Monica Civic Auditorium in, of course, Santa Monica, California. And I was born in Santa Monica. I grew up in Venice on the west side of Los Angeles. And if you played Santa Monica Civic, you're playing in our backyard. I mean, it'd be the equivalent to being in London and you know, growing up in Brixton, someone playing Brixton Academy or Royal Albert Hall or whatever. It's just right there. I saw the power of the instrument come to life through not just his ability to play that thing, but also to perform with that thing. You know, it was pretty unheard of at that time. Bringing the instrument to the forefront and having a melodic voice with it, but also a real rock and roll attitude. I'll never forget, there was powder all over the stage, and at one point he actually had threw the bass across the stage, and then he got a running start and he slid into it like American baseball, you know, home plate, you know, sliding into the bass. And he slid into his instrument. And I just thought that was so cool. And you know, it was LA, probably 1979, so it's a rock and roll time, you know. People are partying, you know. It's crazy. They're having a good time. I think John Belushi was at that show. If Belushi was at your show, you definitely had to have been pretty crazy. And I think Jaco and him were really, really tight. So it was a fun time. So I experienced that, and I saw him at the Hollywood Bowl, which was also an amazing performance. That would have been probably around 1980, and you know, Word of Mouth Big Band at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion was very different than what I expected. I guess I was expecting, you know, the wild and crazy Jaco that I saw at the Santa Monica Civic with Weather Report. But you know, it was different, but it was still great. I went with my father, and then again I saw him, you know, in a situation where was with a lot of party animals, and that would have been, you know, Delmar Brown and Mike Stern at the height of their madness. But it was cool. It was still great. You know, it was great to hear, you know, heavy guitar in the mix. I saw Mike Stern with Miles Davis too at the Hollywood Bowl. Back in the day. So with all that, you know, you're coming up, you're learning the instrument, and I just wanted to embrace what he was bringing, and I was totally inspired by it. So at a certain point I started writing with Jaco in mind. So even my writing was influenced by Jaco. Infectious Grooves was completely inspired by Jaco Pastorius. I wasn't necessarily learning, you know, Portrait of Tracy or, you know, Donna Lee at the time, or Teen Town, but I was taking the technique and the feel and trying to apply it to this wild mixture of music that I was coming up with in the early 80s. I think I'm learning more of Jaco's material now than I ever have in my life, you know.